All right, 4.2, practice B. Copy the congruent triangles shown at the right, then label the vertices of your triangle. So triangle AMT is congruent to triangle CDN. Again, just like in the last one, you don't really have to copy them. I'll make this A, and this C. This one's going to be M, and D, and then T and N. So your congruency statement is listed here. Identify all pairs of congruent corresponding angles and corresponding sides. That would be angle A, congruent to angle C, angle D, congruent to angle M, and angle T, congruent to angle N. Then we also have the segments, or the sides that are congruent. So AM is congruent to CD, MT is congruent to DN, and AT is congruent to CN. So those are all our congruencies. In the diagram, triangle TJM equals triangle PHS. So angle P would be congruent to angle T. Remember, we can just look at their position in the naming. If angle T is in the same spot as angle P, then they have to be congruent to each other. Same way with the segments, like for number 3, JM is congruent to HS. Measure of angle M would be equal to the measure of angle S. So M would be the same as S, which is 48 degrees. For angle P, for angle P, measure of angle P, that would be the same as the measure of angle T. T is 73 degrees, so measure of angle P is 73 degrees. Then MT is the same as SP, so that would be 5 centimeters. In triangle HPS, that would be congruent to triangle, and it has to be in the same order. So if it goes HPS, it would be JTM. Okay, 8 through 10. Write a congruent statement for any figures that can be proved congruent. Explain your reasoning. Okay, so we have angle E congruent to angle G. Angle D is congruent to angle F. EF is congruent to DG. GF is congruent to DE. Then EG is congruent to itself. BEG is congruent to EG because of the reflexive property. Then lastly, you could say angle E is congruent to angle G by the third angles theorem. Remember, third angles theorem says that if in a triangle 2 angles are congruent to each other, the third angle has to be congruent to the other one because they all add up to 180. So then our last step here would be to be able to make the proclamation, or to say triangle GDE is congruent to triangle, So if we started at G, D, E, it would be E, F, G. And that's number 8. For number 9, we have these sides all congruent to each other. We have these sides all congruent to each other, but you notice these markings are different than these ones. So we cannot say that this triangle is congruent to this triangle. So that would be a big no. In triangle 10, if this is a 90, it means that this is a 90. Then this side is shared amongst both triangles, so it's congruent to itself. WY is congruent to WY. Reflexive. Then angle W is congruent to angle W. Reason for that is third angle theorem. So then lastly, you can say WXY. Triangle WXY is congruent to triangle WZY. That's your answer for number 10. Number 11, find the value for x. So if we look at this one, we have triangle ABC, we have triangles DEF, and we don't know that those are congruent yet. However, this is 65 and this is 90. This says that it's congruent to this, so that makes this 65 and 90. And so we do 180 minus 90 minus 65, and that's going to give you that x equals 25. Because 90 minus 65 gives you 25. Number 12. Angle D is congruent to angle B. Angle D is 60. So that gives you 60 plus 70 plus angle F then has to be congruent to angle A because C is congruent to E. So plus 2x equals 180. 60 plus 70 is 130. Subtract the 130 over, you get 2x equals 50. Divide by 2, x equals 25. Okay, number 13. Given that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, find the values of x and y. So, A is the same as D, which means that we can plug this in. 5x plus 2 equals 87. Subtract the 2 over, you get 5x equals 85. Divide by 5, you get x goes, well, 5 goes into 85 17 times. So x equals 17. Then we have to find y too. So then E is the same as B, which makes that 42. And so you do, to find y, 42 plus 87 plus 3y equals 180 degrees. 42 plus 87 gives you 129 plus 3y equals 180. Subtract the 129, get 3y equals 51, and divide by 3, You get y equals 17. So x is 17 and y is 17. On the back side, so you're given triangle HJK is congruent to triangle TRS. Find the values of A and B. So I check to see what T is congruent to. T is congruent to H. H is 51. So it's 6A minus 3 equals 51. Add the 3 to both sides. 6A equals 54. Divide by 6. A equals 9. Then for B, angle K is congruent to angle S. We don't know what angle S is, but we know that this is 83. This R is congruent to J. So then it's 51 plus 83 plus 7B minus 10 equals 180 degrees. So then 51 plus 83 is 134 minus 10 is 124 plus 7B equals 180. Subtract the 124, you get 7B equals, I don't know that off the top of my head, gives you 76. 56, sorry. So then divide by 7, B equals 8. So A equals 9 and B equals 8. Graph the triangle with vertices 1, 2. So because these each go up by 2's, you go over 1 and up 2. That's point A. Then you do 7, 2 also. 2, 4, 6, 7. B and C, which is 5, 4. 2, 4, 5, up 4. I drew a pretty terrible triangle there. It says then graph a triangle congruent to triangle ABC. So what I'll actually do is I'll just go up to here and start from there. So from there, comes over to here. And make this A prime. Let's just rename it. D, E, and then it was over 2 from here and up 2. So let's go over 2 and up 2. That makes D, E, F. So it's pretty simple to graph a congruent triangle. Okay, complete the proof. So we're given angle ABD is congruent to angle CDB. Angle ADB is congruent to angle CBD. AD is congruent to BC. AB is congruent to DC. We need to prove that the two triangles are congruent. All of this was given information. Then how do we know BD is congruent to BD? Well, anything that's congruent to itself is always going to be the reflexive property. Then it says we need the third angle theorem. Well, we know this angle is congruent to this one, and this angle is congruent to this one. So third angles theorem would tell us that the third angles of each triangle are congruent to each other. I put these three lines through here because we just said in the last step BD was congruent to BD. So then we can say angle A is congruent to angle C. Then triangle ABD is congruent to triangle CDB. That is, by definition, of congruent triangles. Okay, last one. Carpet is made of congruent triangles. One triangular shape is used to make all the triangles in the design. Which property guarantees that all the triangles are congruent? So I had to exit out of my full screen mode here to kind of illustrate this, but if we have triangles, okay, and it says one shape is used to make all the shapes in the design. And that means I can take this triangle and just clone it over and over again. So we're going to make a carpet out of this. And if they're all made out of one design, I know there's all those carpets from like the 60s and 70s, so you might see carpets like this at your grandma's house or something. But we can make these patterns, right? And it says they're all the same shape, or they're all the same because it's made of congruent triangles. It says what property would work to tell you that they're all congruent to each other. And basically that's saying that this triangle is congruent to this one here. And this triangle here is congruent to this triangle here. And that triangle there is congruent to this triangle here. So there's one official property that passes it along, and that's called the transitive property. It would be like triangle A is congruent to angle B, triangle B is congruent to triangle C, so triangle A is congruent to triangle C. Okay, I want you to start practice C today. Tomorrow we move on to the real heart of the new chapter, which is triangle congruence proofs.